So if you have specific person, aka SP issues, and are looking to manifest an SP, you probably want to stick around and watch this video. The light is quite bright coming in the window of my car. Oh, look at that. Tell you, that's what $100,000 for film school will do for you. Fix the lighting. Emerson College coming in handy. SP advice, generally speaking, law of assumption type advice, is very, very odd. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name's Tim Grimes. And I've edited and written commentary about Neville Goddard. I started doing this back in 2014. And I edited a 12-book series of Neville's works with additional commentary, like I said, called the Neville Explains the Bible series. I'll put a link in the description below. In the description below. Many of you have already know those books. That's how I started talking to people about Neville, was through that book series. And gradually, I was already doing, somatic, alternative, body-mind type of counseling. And gradually, through that book series and people inquiring about it, I started counseling and coaching people about some of these law of assumption type of, concepts. This is in, the mid 2000 teens. And I was happily married and had never heard of the SP thing. Fast forward a few years after that, and I was involved coaching more people with law of assumption issues because I had written a couple of books, pertaining to those type of ideas. And I started a podcast called Law of Attraction Explored. I actually just released a new episode yesterday. I'll put a link above to it. I don't do many episodes of Law of Attraction Explored anymore. But there's over 100 episodes overall. If you check it out, you can find it on YouTube or on, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere. I really enjoyed sharing these various manifesting concepts in that podcast platform. I thought that it was a little bit of a more accessible, direct way to do it than just books. And I thought it was cool. So I started doing that in 2021. And then about, 6 months to 9 months after I started doing that, I started making a couple of YouTube videos because I'd done YouTube briefly before, never seriously. And at this point, I was aware of the SP scene, but I didn't really take it that seriously. It wasn't until I got into YouTube, I guess you could say at the beginning of 2022, that I realized the extent of the SP scene. And I found some good video creators who talked extensively about it. For instance, Sammy Ingram. I'm trying to think. Yeah, that was 2022, I think. I still didn't really think much about it. And I was happy doing the podcast, but shortly after I discovered Sammy Ingram, I discovered Neville Goddess's YouTube channel. And I saw that she did SP videos too. And I became friends with Maggie, Neville Goddess. And I realized two things. First of all, I realized that car videos, the way that Maggie was doing them, were something I could do and very easily convey a lot of these ideas that I was conveying in the podcast in a car video format. And secondly, I realized watching some of Maggie's videos that there was this real clamoring for SP advice. And Maggie, to this day, I always say Maggie made the best SP videos. I'll put a link above to her channel if you've never watched her channel. Maggie's SP videos are great. They're like usually 30 to 45 minutes long in the car. And she just covers the nuances of this stuff so well. But yeah, I started making some SP videos and people started contacting me for more SP issues. I dealt, again, with some romantic issues that clients had before, but I never really connotated them with the SP scene to the extent I started to do a couple of years ago. I still didn't take it that seriously. I liked working with clients one-on-one, working through their romantic issues and giving my own personal take on it and relating it to Neville, Joseph Murphy, and a lot of these other, great New Thought type of teachers. But as time went on, in, the approximate 2 years since then, I've gotten more and more inquiries. And then finally, I met Marvin Daniels. I don't know when Marvin and I initially met, 2023 at some point, and then, earlier this year, at the beginning of this year, Marvin reached out to me again and we started talking about actually maybe doing some SP coaching together. And we've done SP coaching together. So what I'm getting at is I've done more SP coaching, explicit SP coaching the last 6 months than I ever have done before then combined. I've done a ton of SP coaching in the last 6 months. And Marvin and I now work together giving SP advice to people. So I've basically become an SP coach in many ways. I still love doing, obviously, the other kind of coaching and counseling I offer and have always offered. But people want SP advice. And so this video, why it might interest you so much is not my backstory here, as much as to tell you that I have an extensive knowledge of these law of assumption / law of attraction manifesting concepts, based on, a decade plus of studying them and talking about them, not in romantic relationship ways, but in a larger holistic way. Talking about the history of the New Thought movement, how it links with Emile Coué and psychology, how it links with various spiritual traditions, mysticism. That's my bread and butter. I also have a long-term loving relationship and a couple of kids and extensive experience counseling people on relationship issues. And I'm here to tell you, and you already noticed if you've, watched Marvin and my content that we put out together or have gotten a consultation with us before, and I will put a link below. If you want to get a free consultation with Marvin and I and you want to solve your SP issues, fill out the questionnaire that I'll put a link in below in the description. What I'm here to tell you is that SP advice, the way it's presented to you, is nothing like the way I've always interpreted this cool law of assumption, Neville type advice. And it's not going to work very well for you, the way it's presented. What will work well is integrating these cool law of assumption type of principles into your life in a way where you start improving your self-concept, and also using self-love and common sense to start treating not only yourself better, but other people better. But the latter is almost all relationship-oriented advice, right? It's not some special esoteric technique. And let me, again, just be blunt. This is my opinion. I'm not saying that Marvin and I are the right coaches for you when it comes to SP advice. But I am saying that for most of you, at least, we are going to give you so much more depth and an all-encompassing view of what you can do to manifest a loving romantic relationship than any of these other SP coaches that I've seen. It's like not even close. You come to Marvin and I if you want to resolve your SP issues and get into a loving romantic relationship. And how you do that is not at all like these SP coaches usually say. It's about self-love and self-concept work. In working with people the last half year or so, we've seen how there's no formula. Everybody is different. But generally what happens is you work on grounding yourself, coming to terms with where you are at emotionally, and in your relationship, if you have a relationship right now. And then you start working from there, loving yourself from there, and communicating with your partner, if you have a partner or are trying to reconnect with somebody, in a new, more self-loving way. And you continue to ground yourself and love yourself and increase your love and your self-concept of yourself, so you feel worthy of being who you are and naturally attract the partner that you want into your life. And several people we've worked with have done exactly that. And virtually everybody we've worked with has dramatically improved their self-concept. Because people usually come to us from a desperate state. And that's what most of these SP coaches, frankly, prey on, is people coming from a desperate state. They give them a few techniques, and then they tell them to do those techniques. And maybe the techniques work once or twice for them, but they aren't going to work long-term usually, because the self-concept is not usually changed substantially. You got to change that self-concept for good. You got to get to a state where you obviously want to be with a partner, perhaps a specific partner, but if you're not, you're good anyway. If you have that state, if the current partner doesn't work, another partner is going to come into the picture. Or in the very least, you're going to feel so much better and more confident about yourself that you're going to accept who you are and know that more good is going to come your way. This is the shit we can help you with. And if you want to work with other SP coaches, that's totally fine. I can just tell you that the vast majority of them are going to give you pickle shit advice. We're going to tell you what to do, and we're going to help you heal. What's that saying? I'm paraphrasing here. It's something like, I've probably forgotten more about Neville and the law of assumption than most of these coaches and creators and commenters on YouTube ever know. That's the fucking truth. Neville was a great teacher, great mystic. He was not a relationship coach, guys. Marvin and I are pretty damn good relationship coaches. And we also will incorporate the Neville stuff, which we know better than most of the coaches on here saying that they're quote-unquote law of assumption coaches. Law of assumption coaches, that's a nonsense term. You want your partner back, we can probably help you. And you don't have to work with us. I'm not telling you to work with us. But if you want your partner back and want help, by all means, reach out to us and have a conversation, because we're not going to pressure you. We're just going to tell you like it is. And most of you need to hear it like it is, instead of this fantastical bullshit that's probably not going to work for you, especially long term. So, just wanted to share this video with you. My Emerson degree is coming in handy, only to a certain extent, as I have to cover my face to shield the sun. That's a metaphor for life, perhaps. Or not. If you want to reach me, I can be reached at radicalcounselor.com. Like I said, the questionnaire is below if you want to talk to Marvin and I. Until next time, realize no one else out there is the SP that you really want. You are the SP, and you deserve to be at peace with yourself.